You're welcome to Live and Thrive. And you know what we do on Live and Thrive? We are passionate about seeing people succeed. We want people not just to live, but to thrive. And so we've been talking about a lot of skills that you require to achieve your goals in life and actualize your life's purpose as well. So tonight again, we'll be talking about this very important subject is the subject of leadership. See, some people have argued on whether leaders are born or made. So let's see what Tony has to say about leadership tonight. Tony, it's good to have you here.
Hello, folks.
Yeah. So, what is leadership? What do you have to say about leadership?
Yes, I must say that thriving, one of the most crucial elements of thriving in this life is our leadership abilities. And for us to get a sense of leadership, I'm going to quote one of my favorite United States presidents, Ronald Reagan. He said, the greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things, but the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. So with that quote in mind, I would like to say leadership is ability to guide without forcing people into a common goal or direction, gaining their trust and confidence, and giving them a sense of empowerment and accomplishment. They feel they have done something really good. So it's about social influence. It's not about occupying a big position, by the way. So if you're the head of a team, you don't automatically become a leader until you are able to inspire those working with you into doing the best that they possibly can. One of the things you have to note about leadership is that if everybody is pulling in the same direction, no matter how big the load is, it becomes easier because everybody is pulling in the same direction. So a good leader will ensure that he is able to get all his team members to pull in that same direction, thereby making it easy for every one of them. So that is my own thinking of what leadership is.
Amazing. It looks to me like because people differ, there will be different types of leaders. What are the types of leadership we can have?
Yeah, that's quite an interesting question because I'm sure if almost you've all heard of leadership, of course, I'm sure. So the thing to note is that there are many ways a leader will behave in the course of leading a group. One of the most popular ones, especially in some of the less developed environments, is what I call autocratic leadership. In this type of leadership style, the leader is like a boss. He's the one that almost makes every decision. He decides what the goals are, decides how they're going to be achieved, and does not really take a lot of input from all the other members of the group. Now, there are times, as much as this may sound like not such a nice approach, there are times it actually works. It works in short-term transactions, like something that you need to get done quickly, maybe in a crisis situation. But it's never recommended when you are thinking of a relationship and a long-term goals. So understand that autocratic leadership, where you are the boss, nobody can question you. It has its own time and space where it works. There's, of course, another type of leadership called democratic leadership, where you use consensus building. You get everybody involved. You get feedback. You talk to each other. It builds confidence. this type of leadership also works. I'm sure when you're thinking, you can think of some leaders that have this kind of approach to leadership. The problem with it is that decision making is slow because you're trying to get everybody involved. So you can't get quick decisions. So when you need to take urgent action, it may not be the way to go. There's also a type of leadership called transactional. That one is short-term, short to medium term. You use rewards and punishments to lead in such situations. It's good for maybe someone like a football coach. He can take you off the team if you don't practice well enough. So that's transactional. He is using reward and punishment to try and get the team to work effectively. There is something they call servant leadership too. In servant leadership, he's looking at the growth and well-being of everybody else, almost not thinking about himself. A great example is Mother Teresa. A servant leader is the kind of leader that will join in carrying out a task if somebody is failing. He puts effort and joins them. If it's lifting a heavy luggage, he joins them to lift it. That's a servant leader. There's also what they'll call the laissez-faire or zero leadership. This is where the leader does nothing really. He just waits for everybody to come up with the ideas and do it. And while it is good in creative teams where people are trying to develop ideas that have not been thought of before, it's never a good way to manage strategic scenarios because the goals are not going to be clearly defined. Everybody is working in different directions. It can be a very confusing situation. There is, of course, the final one, which they call the transformational leadership, where the leader causes real change to happen in whatever system he finds himself. There have been so many great transformational leaders, like Mandela, Nelson Mandela, for example. He caused a significant change in South Africa, you know. Or somebody like Steve Jobs, who totally revolutionized the way we think about phones today. One of the things about transformational leaders is that they're always looking at the next big thing that can happen. And it's quite an inspiring way to lead. I must say that this is one of the most admired leadership styles, and because it helps to forge growth and success in teams, because you are looking to thrive, so you are putting in that extra brilliant effort. So those are the different styles of leadership that you have.
Wow. Thank you. You know, it's been said that if you are leading and no one is following, you are at best taking a very nice stroll.
Long walk, yes.
Yeah. So obviously, if you are leading, there must be followers. But then again, from the different styles of leadership we talked about, and the fact that in the past we've had, you mentioned a leader like Nelson Mandela, but there's also a leader like Hitler. Now, looking at these different types of leadership, different leadership styles, and these extremes of leaders, what would you say is the best leadership style? Who is a good leader?
Okay, so one thing about leadership is that as a leader, you have a vision, a purpose that you are going toward, and you are trying to get support in such a way that you are getting people to help you to achieve that goal. I've not talked about whether it's a good goal or a bad goal. because you could actually have an evil plan and get people to support you. But we're now talking about actually being able to motivate those people to support you and ensure that you achieve your goal. That's what we are looking at today. So in terms of the best style, there is no best style per se, because it depends on the situation you are in. Because you remember when I was talking about different styles, I gave you scenarios where it pays for you to be able to make a quick decision. But there are other times you want to make a good decision, a well thought through decision. So depending on the situation, a style will be better than the other. There's this African proverb that comes to mind readily. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So pretty much the same principles apply when it comes to leadership. But for you to be a good leader, there is a great range of attributes and skills and traits, some character traits and some skills you need to have for you to be a good leader. And I dare say also that, because you were mentioning it earlier, that people are born with it or not. What usually happens is that over time, as you are born, you build certain personal character traits. So some are suitable for different types of leadership. Nobody was born with a knowledge of mathematics, for example. But as you grow up in life, you start learning how to add, how to solve algebra problems, how to do differential equations, depending on how much exposure you have in life. Same thing goes with all these character traits that can make it easy for you to be a good leader. But there are some important traits that every good leader tends to have. One of them is integrity. People need to be able to trust you, to follow you. You need to have good communication skills, because if you can't tell them where you're going, how will they follow you? Self-awareness and emotional intelligence comes as another important package, because you need to be conscious of the way you are to them and the way they see you, for you to be able to communicate with them and get them to follow you. Another thing about good leaders is they are very good learners. They pay attention to important details so that they can improve on the way they have been doing things. Quite a lot of skills and traits are involved. I'm just mentioning these few because they are like, if you have all this, if you can communicate with emotional intelligence, have a sense of gratitude, to learn easily, you are likely to be a good leader. Or you have all the tools it takes to be a good leader.
Oh, great. So if you must thrive in this life, you should be able to lead, because we've established over and over again on Live and Thrive that you cannot survive alone. You need people. You need people. And obviously, you must be a good leader, possessing all the skills that we've been talking about and you just mentioned now. So if we must have this leadership skill, if we must know how to lead, can you tell me, for instance, how I can be a better leader? Not just a leader, a better leader. No matter where we're coming from, I always say there's a place called there. How can I be a better leader?
Yeah, of course. Wherever you are in life, you have probably had to lead a team or try to get people to follow you and things like that. To become more effective, the first thing is to start paying attention to yourself. You start understanding whether you are autocratic or democratic, and understand that, okay, you are likely to use a particular style more. That awareness is one of the first steps you would need to have to take in order to be a better leader. Knowing what you have a propensity for, it will now show you where the gaps are, and you can now start learning to be a better leader. So, of course, learning is a key to being a good leader. Wherever you are in life, if you go and find out, you'll find out that people like Nelson Mandela probably were reading up to 20, 30 books every year. So you keep learning from other leaders who have done well, learning from leaders who have failed. And that way you build your toolkit, your toolbox of leadership moves. Because there are many times you will have to come up with a different way of leading different types of groups. You have to learn to listen and communicate better. It is something that is easier said than done, but results have shown that many of us spend more time talking than listening, which is why we fail at that leadership quest. So listening more, checking the cues and feedback you are getting is a very good step. You know, honesty and integrity, I cannot overemphasize that. So if you find that you feel the need to take unethical steps frequently, you need to change that so that you make more ethical decisions and you are seen to be a honest person. People are likely to follow you way more easily. One of the things also about a good leader is to know how to sell ideas. Knowing how to sell is also a special skill that one has to learn. So that way, the followers have a sense of purpose too. They are seeing what they are likely to achieve or benefit as a result of your vision as their leader. I will say this in closing so that you get a feel of this. John C. Maxwell said this: a good leader knows the way. He goes the way. But most crucially, he shows the way to the followers. So that's about, with those steps, you will gradually see that you are becoming a better leader and you are getting people to follow you. Thank you.
This has been amazing. And this is actually the first in our Taking Charge series. You don't want to miss the other ones we'll be talking about. And then from what we've said tonight, it's obvious that a good leader must be emotionally intelligent. It's been one of my best skills that we've talked about in Live and Thrive. You want to go to our YouTube channel and check out other skills we've talked about. We've talked about emotional intelligence and other ones. You need to go, please subscribe. Not just subscribe. Before you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you comment, share, and then subscribe. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again on Live and Thrive. Continue to live and thrive. Bye-bye.